Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 55. Hope everybody's enjoying their Thanksgiving so far. Hope you're nice and stuffed and you got your stretchy pants on so you're in maximum comfort. Hopefully there's a couch nearby. Hopefully you've eaten, you're on your third or fourth serving by now. And hopefully you're going to be in a nice turkey coma pretty soon listening to this podcast. If you want to get in contact with me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. So, we're going to keep it short and sweet tonight. We have one article, and the article is from the Daily Mail. And the clip of Virginia Roberts' interview that's going to be released on Panorama on the 2nd has surfaced. And she makes some explosive remarks in this little clip. It's a very short clip, and if you go to follow in the description box, you'll be able to follow the link here to the article in the Daily Mail. Just click on the article, and you'll be able to find the interview with her so you could hear it in her own words. So we're going to jump into this article and see what it has to say. Headline: He knows what happened. I know what happened. Only one of us is telling the truth. First clip of Virginia Roberts' explosive Panorama interview on Prince Andrew is released. The first clip of Epstein trafficking victim Virginia Roberts' explosive Panorama interview has surfaced, showing her repeating her claim that Prince Andrew slept with her. Again, not only just the interview, right, folks? We have a lot of evidence that's mounting. The upstairs picture at Ghislaine Maxwell's. I didn't take a picture, but he really did take a picture. The I don't sweat, etc., etc. So this is going to be Virginia Roberts, who's going on the record now over in England, and BBC is playing the interview, unlike ABC did here when they squashed it. At least BBC has the courage to play the interview now. The hour-long special, which airs on BBC One on Monday, was recorded before the Duke's disastrous Newsnight interview, in which he denied the allegation. All right, so it's not a new interview. It was recorded previously. Prior to the Duke doing his interview, so before then, obviously. So the thing is, you'll see that her story isn't going to change. She just keeps telling the same story over and over and over and over again. And she has, backup proof for all of this stuff. She has the picture. She has corroborating witnesses. We have statements from pilots. We have statements from other girls now. So the evidence is certainly mounting. But Virginia, who is now married and has the surname Joffrey, tells the show, "It was a really scary time in my life. He knows what happened. I know what happened. And there's only one of us telling the truth." And you see how forceful she is with her statements, as opposed to what Andrew's doing, how he's trying to muddy the waters a bit, trying to, I couldn't have been there because of this, and just a bunch of excuses with no evidence. Whereas Virginia Roberts, obviously, she's provided us evidence, like I said. So it really comes down to, do you believe the evidence or do you believe the Duke? And I happen to believe the evidence. The Duke is withdrawn from public duties after he was widely criticized for failing to show remorse for his friendship or much empathy with Epstein's alleged victims during his television appearance. Yeah, well, that's for sure. He had zero empathy for those girls. We saw that. I mean, when you watch the interview, you're like, what the? Never mind reading it, but when you watched it, terrible. Her allegations, which Andrew strenuously denies, were struck from U.S. civil court records in 2015 after a judge said they were immaterial and impertinent. How is that even possible? And now remember, in 2015, that's when ABC squashed this story too. Concerted effort much? It follows Andrew's attempt to defend himself against Miss Joffrey's accusations and explain his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein during an interview on NBC's Newsnight, which was branded a car crash. I think it was a lot more than a car crash. It was probably like, the Titanic, because that's the epicness of this crash. It's going to go down in history as one of the most epic, disgustingly bad interviews that have ever happened. And how a guy who has access to the advice that he has and the people around him that are people of power, how they let him do this interview is beyond me. And it makes me wonder if they're not angling to make him a fall guy as well. You better be careful on any of these crazy helicopter flights he might be taking or anything like that. They might just try and get rid of this guy. I mean, I say that tongue in cheek, but with these kind of people, you never know. In the interview, the Duke denied Miss Roberts' claims and said an alleged encounter with her in 2001 did not happen, as he spent the day with his daughter, Princess Beatrice, taking her to Pizza Express in Woking for a party. Miss Roberts alleged the Duke sweated heavily as they danced at London nightclub Tramp. Well, he says he can't sweat. Dermatologist came out and said, they're not buying it. Then we see a picture surface of him from right around that time sweating. So, this guy, it's hard for me to say that this man has any credibility at this point. It's just really tough for me to believe anything he says. During the interview, Andrew said he had a medical condition at the time, after suffering an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when he was shot at, which meant he did not sweat. Okay. The Duke has withdrawn from public duties after he was widely criticized for failing to show remorse for his friendship with Epstein or empathy for the alleged victims during his television appearance. He resigned from a large number of patronages and seen organizations he was once involved with sever ties. They should have done that a long time ago. Why did it take this interview to shed light on all of this? Why does it take this sort of thing when everybody is scared that their reputation is going to be exposed? Why does it take something like this for them to kick into action? When they knew that Epstein was a sick bastard, why didn't they ban Andrew from hanging out with him? All you have to do is read the paper. You're telling me nobody over in England, no one in MI6 or any of the intelligence agencies was whispering in the royal's ear saying, hey, this is a bad idea. What are you doing? Or did they not care that he gets caught up in this situation, right? Did they want him to get caught up in this blackmail situation? Which is quite possible too, because once again, we know that these intelligence agencies, they've been doing this forever. They want to exert control. If the more pieces they have on the board, the better chance they have of shifting things in their direction. Miss Roberts has claimed in court papers in Florida that she was forced to have sex with Andrew when she was age 17, below the state's age of consent. Her allegations, which Andrew strenuously denies, were struck from U.S. civil court records in 2015 after a judge said they were immaterial and impertinent. I bet you that judge is kicking him or herself right now. Don't you think that if that judge would have taken these charges seriously and maybe had a real courtroom situation, that other girls could have avoided this fate? But no, once again, there'll be no accountability for them, only for you and I. We have to be accountable for every action that we take, and rightly so. But how come they're not accountable for anything that they do? Buckingham Palace has branded the allegations false and without any foundation, stating, any suggestion of impropriety with underage minors by the Duke was categorically untrue. Yeah, okay. Miss Roberts has criticized the Metropolitan Police for failing to investigate her allegations. We talked about this earlier. She says that there's a cover-up underway, and she's not the only one saying this. A lot of the victims are saying the same thing. So if the victims are feeling like this, don't you think it's a valid point? Don't you think it's something that the media should take to heart before they're calling people conspiracy theorists? Because if these girls feel that way, I think it's something that should be talked about. It should be explored. Why are you making them repress the way they feel because it doesn't fit your narrative? Who's making that decision? The Met said it stands by its decision not to investigate claims by the Duke's accuser and added that officers had spoken to other law enforcement agencies but have not received a formal request asking for assistance. Why not? Why not? What is up with the FBI? They better be building a case. They better not just be sitting around dicking around, because they better be building a case on this guy to go after him. It said it reviewed its previous decision that it was not the appropriate authority to conduct inquiries in these circumstances following Epstein's death in August, and that its position remained unchanged. Well, whose job is it then, okay? Who's telling you not to do it? Is it the same people that told Acosta not to, back off? Epstein was controlled by intelligence? Is it those same people? Because I want to know. There needs to be a full accounting. There needs to be a full accounting, because there's just a lot of denials, a lot of categorically untruths, and then we find out, we start learning more about their stories, and we start picking holes in all of their stories. And if I'm able to do that, just some guy that has a podcast, I can only imagine what a seasoned prosecutor can do if he gets his hands on this case. He or she must be salivating as they look over the files as we speak. Now the question is, are they going to be allowed to pursue justice? Or are the same people that protected him before going to protect their secrets and their silly blackmail schemes? It really comes down to, do we have any good guys in these agencies that really don't care what the intelligence community has to say? If there's a crime committed, that's the FBI's place to go after those criminals. But we haven't seen that courage, right? We have not seen the courage by anyone to do that. Epstein killed himself in August in a New York prison while he was being held on sex trafficking charges. Allegedly. Buckingham Palace has branded the allegations leveled at Andrew as false and without any foundation, stating any suggestion of impropriety with underage minors by the Duke was categorically untrue. So, I guess they did all their homework, right? The Crown did all their homework and they knew that Andrew was spot clean. So, if he was innocent, right, why was that interview so bad? Why wasn't he able to harness that interview and turn it into what he wanted to turn it into, and that was a PR stunt? Why did everything just so dramatically fail for him? Well, I have a few opinions on the matter, and the most glaring one to me and the easiest one to come to, in my opinion, is that he's just not telling the truth, right? He's lying. His body motions look like he's lying. The things he's doing while he's giving this interview make it look like he's lying. And his alibis, they just don't add up. And then you add to that all the other circumstantial evidence around the case that lead us to believe that the accusations of Virginia Roberts are spot on. All these other girls that say these guys acted the same way, how Maxwell had an MO, how she would find girls at Central Park, etc., etc., etc. Everything, all roads lead back to the same thing, right? All roads lead back to these people all knowing one way or the other. And it's sad. It's sad that he got away with it for so long. It's sad that these girls had to suffer the abuse, mental and physical, at his hands, and then afterwards at the hands of the very people who were supposed to defend them. And that's the prosecutors in the case. First the state prosecutors, then federal prosecutors, and then again the feds while he was in prison awaiting his justice. I mean, if you're not mad about this case, folks, if you aren't ready to, like I always say, flip over the table like in the church like Jesus did, well, I don't know what to tell you, because this is the most maddening situation I have ever come across in my whole entire life. All right, everybody, I really hope you enjoyed your holiday. If you want to get in contact with me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. And if you would like to donate to the show, you can do that inside of the description. There will be a link for the GoFundMe. You can click on the link and follow it and all that good stuff. I will be back tomorrow with our morning update and business as usual. Remember, folks, together, we could, I think we're making a couple moves here. We might be able to, make media great again, perhaps.